everybody, welcome back. For those of you, this is your first time, my name is Mr. Paul. I'm a visual artist, been working as an artist most of my life, and I've also been teaching for a long time too, over 25 years, working with young people like yourself. Thanks for coming out today. Today we're going to I'm going to work with clay. This is going to be really kind of more of an information and kind of a demo as opposed to having you work along with me. If you're in school, you probably don't have clay. You might have clay. If you have clay, go with it. Come with me. If you don't, but you're kind of interested in maybe starting, you think it's cool and you want to try it, this is going to be a real simple, easy, the things you need to know before you start working in clay. If you know this ahead of time, it may help you out, okay? This is my medium. Now I paint and I do a variety of other things. I make objects and stuff, but clay is my medium right now and has been for the last 15-20 years. And so I'm going to kind of give you maybe a little tricks of the trade. Some of you may be already working in clay, and that's cool, but for those of you that need a little bit of tip and maybe even more information about how you get these things done, I'm going to try to cover some of that area for you today. Okay, you see here a big old plastic bag of clay. If you go somewhere, let's say in Oklahoma City, like the House of Clay, over here on the north side of town, great people work there and own the place for 40 years. That's where I get mine, and they come in boxes of 2 of these. And this is what's called terracotta. There's a bunch of different kinds of clay, but this is terracotta. You've seen like these red pots that like you put flower plants and stuff in. That's what it is. It's terracotta, but they've got what's called grog that's mixed into it. And grog is something that if you're going to do sculpture with it, it's a good thing to have some grog in there. And grog is kind of like, I don't know, it's a natural element that just thickens everything and makes it stronger. So I use that because I sculpt with them and I don't just throw pots. You know people that throw pots. I don't know how to throw pots. I'm a sculptor. So the first thing that you do is I pull out and I just cut out a little bit of what I think I'm going to make something this big or a shape this big. And so this stuff actually dries out pretty fast. And so, and this stuff, and the reason I say this is that wrap it up and get it out of the way. Now, when you first get the clay out, it's already blended pretty well, right? And so, meaning there are no air pockets in the clay. Air pockets is, especially when you use old clay and let's say this is old and I'm working on this and I want to connect this together. If you don't need K-N-E-A-D, need the clay, which means you just work this clay to get all the air pockets out of it. And what happens sometimes is there'll be a little area inside that has a little air in it, right? If you don't get that air pocket out, when you cook it, right, you put it in what's called a kiln. It's not an oven, but it's kind of like an oven. It's made specifically for firing clay is in a kiln. If you put it in there and there are air pockets in it, guess what happens? It'll explode right there in the kiln and not only mess up your piece, but if there's other people's work inside the kiln, it can mess their work up too. It's really, really important. You know, I mean, I can't stress that enough. It would be great if you could just make this great sculpture and it was completely solid and that's all you had to do. No, it doesn't work that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you right off the bat and see if you look inside, there's no pockets. There's no little creases in there that have air in them. And so let's see. I'm going to just make something really, really simple. I'm going to kind of shape this into a ball. And again, I don't have much time, so I'm not gonna, this is not gonna be perfect or anything. Remember, I don't care about perfect, right? And then what I'm gonna do, let's say this is the finished shape you want, right? Okay, I can't put that in the kiln at the temperature it's going to take for it to harden. You have to hollow this piece out. And I tell you what, when I first started doing this, I hated doing this. I'd make a really cool object and everything, and then somebody would go, okay, now you have to cut it in half. What are you talking about? Cutting it in half? No. But what you do is cut it in half. There are so many kinds of tools. You can, here's one I use a lot. Here's one I use a lot. I use a lot of chopsticks to make holes and stuff. I've got a little two different kinds of knives, a curved knife and a straight knife. And then of course I've got a smaller knife here. But for this, what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to have to hollow it out, I'm going to use this scoop here. And what you do is you take the clay out of the center. Now keep in mind, you have to keep the wall, right? This is going to be, because I'm going to go all the way down, you're going to have to keep this wall of clay that creates this shape. You're going to have to do it in such a way where you have an even thickness all the way around the edge of the inside of your shape. And it's honestly, it's really not that hard to do. It is easy to cut out a little bit more than you need, right? So, but that is easy to if you take out too much, put it back in. At this stage of how soft it is to work with, it's easy. Okay, see that? You don't worry about the perfect shape that you made. You can once you get it scraped out, emptied out. I see another little piece where I think a little bit of clay back will work good. Okay, let's do the other side. And again, this is just a little demo of things that you need to know if you're going to be. Now, if you throwing pots is something completely different, and we may need to get somebody else here that has a wheel, a potter's wheel, right, to show you. But the rules apply no matter what you do. It has to be empty in the inside, because if you make it too thick, it will crack in the firing, right? If I don't make this, now we're not talking about paper thin here, right? We're not talking about paper thin. What we are doing is we are making the walls of this shape. About the same thickness. Now, we're going to put it together, and I'm going to try to do this real quick because I'm running out of time. But what I do is I score the edges. When the clay is this wet, it's easy to do. And you have to, if you're going to put something together again, you have to do it when the clay is still pretty soft. Okay, once you get that done, if it was a little drier, I may add a little water, but right now I'm just going to put them together like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect them. You can't really do this fast. Now, once you get to know what you're doing, right, it'll be great. You know, Pablo Picasso, the famous major, he worked in clay. And I tell you what, one last thing, I know I'm running out of time here, but one of the things that I think is just amazing is clay was really the first medium that sculptors used. I mean, it goes back 10,000 years. Artists have been making sculptures and shapes and stuff out of clay probably ever since human beings have been on this earth, right? So it's kind of neat. I remember, it's been about 15, 20 years ago in China, they found a treasure trove of life-size armies. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of life-size statues of armies that were made out of terracotta clay, just like this. And it was a kind of a burial ritual of the time. This has been hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So clay as a medium to express themselves has been around for a very, very long time. Okay, see, you've got this, and what I do, just in case, and you can refine this. You could work on this to where there is no kind of seam, no kind of blemish whatsoever. But this is what I do. I take my chopstick and I make a little hole in it. And what that does is it allows the heat to escape, the air inside it to escape, which also, right, secures your shape from being destroyed in the kiln. I've got so much more to talk to you about this. Maybe we'll do another class on this to take this a little bit further. I hope that kind of helped you out. If you love working with your hands, and if you don't mind getting your hands dirty, I love this medium. And even if you aren't into clay, check it out. You will learn so much about who you are as an artist by what you can mold with your hands. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope I helped you a little bit, and I will see you next time. Peace, and have a great day.